we're going to begin at recapping like the finale of the preseason, because it's not very often that the 49ers and the Raiders are able to play. So, Mike, I'll let you take the floor if you want to open up this topic.
Well, I just got to start with, was that the best preseason game ever? I don't usually care going into the fourth quarter, but for some reason I was just into this game.
It actually was a good game. Like, there were exciting plays that went back and forth. But what's funny is, they used to do the Niners-Raiders preseason game every year. And then I think it was 2013 at Candlestick. There were 3 or 4 giant brawls and maybe a stabbing or 2. It was awful. And they were both teams were we're not doing this anymore. But then 10 years pass and the Raiders moved to Vegas. And they're thinking, let's give it another shot. It could be fine. Let's give it another shot. And then another huge brawl where some person has a chair. They're beating. It's damn, man. That's why you don't really want to go to preseason games, because people drink a lot. And then they realize 10 seconds into the game that nothing counts or matters. And they're like, man, I'm mad. And I don't know why I'm mad, but it's your fault. I'm just saying, it's violent.
Yeah. Yeah. And it looked like, I saw that video. It looked like they might have been in the third deck. So it's just third deck festivities.
Yeah, just pay a little bit more money, get a nicer spot. Be with the aristocrats.
Hey, it's a small price to pay for
not
at least fun preseason.
Yeah. Sorry.
At least fun preseason football. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's some really boring preseason games.
That was not one of them, man. It came down to the end. The final play was just incredible. The players left it all out in the field. Tanner Mordecai, all of them. The Raiders too. I think it was nice that it was a tie, because both teams deserve to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did anything besides that final play stand out to you from either team? Maybe a player that, maybe jumped out? I know it was mainly third stringers, but there also was a huge portion of the game where the 49ers starters were in. So I don't know if anything jumped out to you.
Sure. I know this is a Raiders show and I just don't really cover them. So I was more focused on the Niners, and I hadn't heard of any of the Raiders players on the field. Carter Bradley, Nathan Peterman actually played. That was incredible. But Jordan Mason again, when he plays in these preseason games, he looks like he's almost too good to be out there. It looks a little too easy for him. And also he just takes defenders for a ride. He looks really good. And then also I think Jacob Cowing has been a real pleasure to watch this preseason. I like being critical or focusing on issues with a team, because I think that's journalism. But at the same time, a guy like him should be discussed. When was the last time the Niners had a 4-3 receiver who was a threat on short routes, intermediate routes, deep routes, screens, and gadget plays, and punt returner? I'm not saying he's a Pro Bowler, but that's a very expansive skill set that I just can't remember the Niners having on their team.
Yeah, I can't remember either. And I do want to clarify one thing that you said. So you said this is a Raider show. It's both a 49ers and a Raider show. We talk about topics on both teams. So I just want to clarify that. If anybody,
I'm so sorry I said that. I don't know what I was thinking.
No, I think that's enough for Grant.
I think the Niner hat should have been the giveaway. We got a Niner hat and a Raider hat. I just needed to use my eyes. My bad.
Yeah, no, that's enough questions for Grant. Thank you for joining the show. No, I'm just playing. Mike, do you have any other questions for Grant, pertaining to the preseason finale?
Yeah, even as a Raider fan, obviously doing this podcast, I do look at it through a certain lens now, watching the Niners too, and I couldn't help but sit there and just think, why are the starters still in? Do you think, in your opinion, that the starters played too long in this game?
Well, I think what was interesting is if you went back to the previous game, the Niners played Brock Purdy and a couple starters, but basically rested most of their starters against the Saints, who played their starters. So the Niners had an opportunity to play starters against starters in week 2 of the preseason and passed on it, and then played their starters against third stringers in week 3. It's what? Yes. What did you get out of that? How did it help all of your starters to go up against the Raiders third stringers and frankly struggle at times? They didn't score every time they had the ball. They almost, I would think that the Raiders third stringers came out of that game feeling really energized and confident. Wow, we can hang with the 49ers. So yeah, it seemed like kind of strange. Strange planning all around from Kyle Shanahan. Yes. Why then? Why do you wait until the third game to play your starters when the second game was probably the time?
Yeah. I've just always understood that preseason is like the final game is for the backups. This is when we're deciding like who's making the team and who's not.
Right.
So like to me, like Josh and I have had discussions on this, but like to me, it's like, why would I risk having somebody like even a Jordan Mason who's not the number one running back, but he's playing like one? Why would I risk him getting hurt? Or, I mean, really, my next question is, pertaining to Leonard Floyd and Yetur Gross-Matos and the fact that they both got hurt in this game. I believe they're the two projected, or at least one of them's a projected starter opposite Nick Bosa. So if they're both down for a couple weeks, like who's going to step up?
Robert Beal Jr. I mean, it doesn't mean he's going to step up. That's just the next guy up. And he's going to make the team just because he's a defensive end who isn't injured. I mean, really, like, you could talk about the big takeaways from this preseason game, but ultimately they don't matter at all. And all that matters is who gets hurt.
Yep.
How many players got injured in a game that didn't count? And for the Niners, it was 2 players at their thinnest position. I mean, going into the game, you're thinking like they're kind of 3 deep at the end. Drake Jackson is out and Robert Beal hasn't asserted himself. So they'd like to be 4 deep at the end. They're 3 deep. Now they're 1 deep. And at least for the time being. So that's not what you want coming out of the final preseason game, to your point. Like, I agree. It used to be 4 preseason games, right? Third one was the dress rehearsal. And the fourth one was just for the backups. Well, now it seems like teams are looking at it as the second one is the dress rehearsal. Third one for the backups, except for the 49ers who dance to the beat of their own drum.
Do you think that they had like a get right game in mind, like sort of like the longest yards, the longest yard? You know how Adam Sandler was like pitching it to the warden, and it's like you just need a get right game.
Yeah, maybe that was what it was. I don't know.
That's why they were saving.
I think Kyle, like, there's the kind of coaches that don't play their starters at all, and I guess the kind of coaches that play them in the second game, and then the kind of coaches that wait till the third. I think Kyle likes being, unique, doing things that other people don't do. Like he played Brock Purdy with no starters against starters. Like, that was insane. But when Kyle does it, it's like, oh, that's genius, smart. It's like, no, but he did it.